Okay, so I'm pumped to talk all things social apps today with Frank and Connor, two co-founders of Kivo, an exciting, mysterious new application coming out on Solana soon. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
How's it
Thank you for
going?
having me.
Good to be here.
Yeah, welcome on. It feels like social apps are having a bit of a moment with friend tech lately. And so when I first saw the trailer being released for Kivo on Twitter, I was immediately piqued. My interest was piqued and I had to reach out. So now we can finally get into it and really sort of unpack what you guys are building. In the beginning, so how would you describe Kivo to sort of the regular crypto user?
So we really just want to make the experience of buying and selling crypto more social, but we also want to facilitate an onboarding crypto as well to new friends. And so, I think we've all gone through the world of crypto, becoming more acclimated with being on chain and bridging and doing all these sort of crypto native tasks that are fairly complex to understand to the average retail user. And so I think throughout the process, we've become a little bit more isolated as well. And we're kind of taking a step back and taking a product driven approach to buying and selling crypto. And so we're really just trying to create an experience that's more social and more fun.
Do you guys see it? Maybe firstly, you can describe a bit more the product, and then we can go into kind of how you guys see the use case playing out.
So in terms of describing the product, yeah. So right now we have the product built around Kivo groups, which are basically groups up to 10 to invite your friends where you can collaborate, buy and sell cryptocurrencies, engage in different, more complex DeFi behavior like staking. And ideally, we're going to build on that and make more complex DeFi behavior more accessible to retail. And so we're really just starting from, a product-driven standpoint. And we're looking forward to releasing this, and really observing how people actually use this. But we have different game modes right now, or group modes right now, largely around buying and selling spot.
So does that look like I create a group with some buddies, say like 8 people? Or I can't remember the exact cap, but let's say 8 or 10 people, and I find an interesting new trade. I am able to propose it to the group, and then we can collectively execute on, say, joining into purchasing easily through the app.
Yeah. Absolutely. And a lot of this too is, the behavior of switching chains right now is very difficult. We want to really allow users to bring their friends onto crypto and introduce coins, new chains easily. And so this is almost like, if you have a cousin or a friend that they're asking you, how can I get involved in, what you think is best right now in crypto? You can bring them into your Kivo group. And it's almost like an Xbox Live party, so to say, in terms of UX, right? We want to create a fun social experience to let that person onboard them into crypto. So that's really the experience that we're trying to replicate right now in UX.
Is there a way to say, NFA DYOR within the app?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, before every trade.
Yeah.
For every group.
Okay, so we can collectively do spot purchases. I also noticed in the trailer you guys mentioned something about bill splitting, and there was an ice cube or something as well, I think. Is there other functionalities that you're going to ship with as well?
Yeah. So we are shipping bill splitting, right? And then the ice cube is representative of the group staking mode, which really abstracts away the staking process and makes it easy for people who may not know a lot about crypto, may not know a lot about what staking is, what LSTs are, things of that nature, to invest into whatever the highest yielding LST at the time is, and then do that with their friends, such that it doesn't feel like they're venturing into uncharted, complicated territory alone. They're able to do it with their group, and they're able to do it in a simple, fun way that makes it easy.
So if I can sort of summarize and make sure everyone's coming along for the ride, it's a bit like if you were partying up to play a video game, but crypto is a video game and you're partying up with your buddies. You can like ask questions, you can check and see if something's a good or bad idea. And maybe there'll be some more experienced people, less experienced people, and you can kind of knowledge share easily.
Exactly.
That's analogy. I can also kind of like it to like a field trip group leader, like taking, a group of people into different locations. In this case, we want to be cross-chain. We want to recommend trending tokens. So there is definitely a bit of a leadership aspect involved here within
and
groups.
I also see it as a little bit, because these Unibot stuff has been trending where you can make trades within Telegram, which has that element of doing trades in like a chat interface, but it doesn't have necessarily the sort of shared group element. So it seems like almost like a riff on that on the side, but with more of a group feeling. Did you take some inspiration from those Telegram trading bots?
Not necessarily. Unibot is obviously more technical, geared towards more sophisticated traders, I would say. We aren't necessarily going for that crowd that's like botting, new token launches. We're actually taking like a very product first approach, specifically designed for onboarding retail into crypto. It's almost like designing a social network in a way, really, as opposed to designing something that's very technical for technical traders. I think the level of on-chain sophistication, like on CT, is just magnitudes greater than what we find with retail. So we're really trying to bridge the gap here.
Yeah, 100%. I was chatting with a buddy who's doing some research on payments, like crypto payments in general, particularly in Latin America. And one thing that he noticed is that a lot of the popular apps for buying USDC or like digital real or pesos, they completely abstract away the chain, the crypto element. It's really just like digital dollars or digital pesos, which I think is kind of where we're trying to get to, actually.
Yeah, I totally agree.
The chain as well, for us, like we're building on Solana, and we think it's going to be the most capable chain to build on. Ideally, we abstract away from that, and it's just cross-chain USDC dominant.
Got you. What were you going to say, Frank?
I think that's absolutely the angle we're trying to go for. I think that in order to really be able to, as Connor said, bridge that gap, the more technical parts of what crypto is need to be abstracted away for the retail consumer. Because the way I see it is that your average retail participant is still fearful of crypto, is still scared of the ecosystem. And I would say that might be for good reason, because it is daunting, right? It is hard to, the learning curve is steep for sure. And that's something that with our product driven approach, we're really trying to make easier. We're trying to make it easy for people to become ecosystem participants.
Yeah, we saw, I think it was, or at least the conjecture right now is that PayPal made a fat finger mistake with the Bitcoin fee and paid like 500K. I didn't follow it closely, but that just goes to show that, yeah, anyone can make mistakes. I'm hearing many, many times the product-driven approach. Can you unpack a little bit or share some details about how you guys think about a product-driven approach in crypto?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think right now, the de facto like use case for on-chain behavior with retail, they'll have like a deck screener tab open. They'll be on ETH, navigating between chains. I'm really thinking about that user experience and trying to better understand how we can help, people with like less experience be exposed to these types of new chains, new tokens. Ultimately, we want to release a beta in mid-September, mid to late September, and really just observe how you interact with the platform. I can't say too much about what we've learned so far because we still have yet to really release a product. So a lot of that will be observing, how users interact with the product, and better understanding what we need to do, and that maybe taking a more mobile first approach. We've been thinking heavily about developing a PWA. So a lot of this will definitely be about observing and then iterating based on user feedback, which is traditionally how, design thinking works. But a lot of this is going to be coming from directly, talking to our users.
Yeah, got you. We see a bit of like the inverse of that with a lot of public good or info projects, which are quite far away from the user. That's one of the reasons why I was excited to chat with you guys, because I'm really keen to see more like consumer products out there getting feedback and gathering users. I mean, another use case could also be, say, for example, my podcast. If I want to create a community and like do some sort of shared activities together. But then I guess the question is like whether that user cap, whether it gets too noisy, I guess that's what you guys are trying to solve for by keeping it lower.
Well, recently we've been exploring different mechanisms that we can employ and different ways that we could kind of refocus the group experience that would make it a lot easier to have larger groups, to have groups of 25 people, 30, 50 people. And that's something that I'm really excited about doing, is being able to expand the member cap on groups from 10 to 25 to 50 to 100. And I think we've come up with some pretty promising approaches to being able to make that happen.
Got you. And can you also just walk, like, so the user, because in case they haven't seen the trailer, maybe we can just walk them through a little bit, as hard as it is to describe UX or in audio. From my memory, you have like basically a chat interface on the right side. Then you have some kind of pie chart in the middle showing the different users or different members of the group. And then there's a couple of different like modes up the top. What is the pie chart for in the center area?
The pie chart is actually the Kiwi, and it's representative of the individuals with the current of 10 people a group. It's representative of the users in that group and the choices they make regarding different modes, right? So your whole group, someone proposes a trade, someone says let's buy bond here, or some arbitrary token, and then so when that mode is selected, all the slices change from the colors that the users have selected on sign up to be red, and then as users within that group enter that trade, the slices change color to indicate this person has done this.
So it's like if you like press a buzzer and it changes color or something to be joining the group or to be aligned with the group. And I also love the idea of the fact that you guys can play around with some of the gamification or the I guess the gamification, because I could also envision, like the person who proposes earns a small percentage of everyone's trade or something like that. There's some fun ways that you could play around with it. Speak to that, sure.
I just wanted to say, I think it is interesting to design for, in this case, smaller groups, right? Like, so obviously, I think most people might look at that and say, well, you're just naturally capping growth. But I do think in this case, like designing for smaller or intimate group settings is a very interesting use case. And I do think it provides for a different environment than a massive group chat. It's something that I'm excited to see, unfold.
Absolutely. It's interesting when you make certain kind of maybe controversial product decisions, how it gives you like license to really explore a certain, like you add a constraint and then you sort of explore like what does that actually unlock. I mean, we saw that with FriendTech. I think they had some sort of upper limit on how many people can be inside a group, and that was criticized initially, but it actually makes sense. Like they don't want to have the creator being overwhelmed with too much users and not wanting to use the platform anymore. So I agree. Like it'll be interesting to see, I guess, how people use it and if it's a good constraint or a bad constraint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking about like how private the experience is or how transparent. I mean, we know that it's on blockchain, so in theory, everything is transparently available. But do people, are they able to track each other's like wallets inside the tool, or can they like transparently see the returns of each member, etc.?
So maybe not the individual returns of each member, but the amounts that they purchase into these positions are going to be transparent within the group.
Got you.
Yeah, because the way we see it right now, especially with the limit of 10 people to a group, is that it's a rather intimate experience, right? You're probably only going to be in a group with people that you know and you know well. And so we don't really envision there being like a huge privacy problem with showing things of that nature in the group, within the group.
Got you. I love the idea also that like I can propose a trade, it goes absolutely terribly, and everyone can transparently see just how bad it went. And then, like I just imagine some funny group dynamics like that. But speaking about on that topic, like, is it dangerous to mix money with friendships? Like, is there a risk there as well?
I'm sure. I think we're seeing that done, but it's not necessarily on a platform, right? I mean, I'm sure we've had friends recommend us certain trades or coins to buy, and usually it just kind of happens independently. But yeah,
I remember the last bull run. One of my buddies was recommending like Elon Shiba something. So
yeah, right. We all the XRP friend or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
hear about him is recommending that, so it's like I do think that type of referral it exists, but there hasn't. Not that that's the solution that we're like optimizing for, but I'd say those sort of referrals are already happening right now, just not necessarily through a platform.
Yeah, and I can't underscore enough how much it is a scary world when you're starting in crypto, and how many pitfalls there are just waiting for you to make a slight mistake. I mean, every single platform, like Twitter, I'm constantly being advertised like free NFT, just connect your wallet. You search Magic Eden on Google, the first Google ad is going to rug you, like empty your wallet. I mean, it's really a shame that
it's very scary out there right now to really be navigating on, and not to mention, all of the new coins being launched right now are either honeypots or just rugs. It's like, I'd say percentage wise, it could be 95 or higher in terms of percentages for they're actually doing anything.
Yeah, it's tough out there.
Utility that aren't just literal scams. So that is part of the problem, right? Like, having your money on chain is extremely dangerous. It's extremely hard to navigate that. That's just engaging in buying and selling spot. We're not even talking complex DeFi strategies. And even parking your money sometimes on some of these protocols is also, you're vulnerable to exploits as well. So something to think about. The safety of on-chain is definitely a concern, and something that we're thinking about with Kivo. Is how can we really make on-chain behavior healthy and safe? That's something that we're definitely optimizing for.
And just to check, you guys are not taking any custody of any assets, like for example the LST staking. You're just providing a window in to do that.
Yeah, that's correct. We at no point do we have any control over any assets stored within the group, within the users' wallets, anything like that. It's completely non-custodial.
Got you. And are you like, because we've been seeing some interesting new innovations in terms of like pass keys, account abstraction. Are you guys planning to like let users create the wallet like in Kivo, or is it like you bring your own wallet and you connect?
Well, so initially with our beta, we are going to do you bring your own wallet and you connect, but something that we really want to do is be able to attract cross-chain liquidity, and our strategy for that is to employ account abstraction, right? Where you're just able to log in to Kivo with your Twitter account, and then all the on-chain parts of it are abstracted away. You don't need a wallet. You don't need anything like that. Because it's all built into the protocol for you.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. And what about like other features, like for example, DCAing? I know Jupiter has a nice DCA feature where you can, buy over a long period. Is that kind of stuff you're also looking to add?
We're definitely trying to explore really just about everything that can be done in a group setting that would make it fun. DCAing isn't something we've specifically talked about. We've spitballed a lot of ideas around just like group perp positions and stuff like that. Not sure if that'll be something that we choose to ship or not.
Gotcha.
But we are really trying to come up with a wide variety of use cases for groups. We're trying to expand on our initial use cases and just really enable people to harness the full power of what like an experienced user can do in crypto within their group without having to have all that experience navigating on chain and navigating bridges, and everything of that nature.
I do like the concept of adding like DCA functionality. I think within the chat that would be something great to add. We want to explore like different, mechanisms that make our chat different than just a chat input, and like employing, the opportunity to DCA. It's a great example of functionality that we'd be interested in using. Say,
Yeah.
It's also, relatively more conservative. We had discussed group perps, but we were just speaking about this the other day. It's not really in line with the demographic that we're looking for. Like perp traders are, doing their own thing with sophisticated trading usually, and that's not the audience that we're designing this towards.
Got you. Another fun one to add to the pool would be something like, everyone puts in, say, the pro rata percentage, like say, you have 10 users, they all put in 10%, and then you buy the NFT and it gets raffled off randomly to one of the users. Like, I could also imagine some sort of games within as well, which could be really fun.
Yeah, we had initially designed, games like roulette and whatnot. But, I've also kind of been increasingly less interested in like quote unquote gamble-fi or these like involved with groups. It's not really the big value add that we see with this. It's so we're taking a bit of a step away with that, although we may in the future, reconsider. But yeah, that's not.
Got you.
I don't think that's solving any immediate problems.
Got you. Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, I suppose it's like you don't want to get too far ahead of yourselves, right? Because as you said, you'll take feedback once you go live and once you iterate a bit. But do you have some, like I assume that you've scoped it down to be able to release an initial product. Do you have some like first next steps that you're looking to release once you're live?
Yeah, we absolutely do. Our first focus once we're live is shipping a PWA with account abstract. Because I think that a big part of the reason that FriendTech got as big as it did, as quickly as it did, is because they took a mobile first approach, right? And they were able to capture the mobile market share, which is huge, which is much larger than the number of people who are going to be sitting on their laptop or sitting on their doing this, and being able to have these type of experiences almost natively on your phone, in your pocket, all the time is something that we think could be a big driving factor to early adoption.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how often do you use chat on your laptop? I mean, I use WhatsApp, but that's about it, and not that often.
Yeah.
So it makes complete sense. Yeah. Cool. Yes, I mean, it sounds really cool. I'm curious. It sounds to me like you guys, your hypothesis is definitely less experienced users, right? Or pairing less experienced users with maybe more experienced, but definitely it's like a B2C product. You're not looking to have, for example, like VC funds, having some sort of group chat where they can execute trades. it's very much B2C, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. I mean, it's very exciting, and maybe you can hear in my voice, but I see a lot of different potential and different directions that you could take, and I'm personally very, very pumped to see like how the initial feedback works. What are your thoughts, I guess, more broadly on social in crypto these days? Do you feel like now is the right time to release? Like it's a good moment for social?
I do. Yeah. And, you know, NFTs are struggling. DeFi is struggling. Spot is struggling. And I think right now, like we've all been through this bear. We all know how brutal it's really been for almost 2 years
Mm.
now. And I think that with social, the opportunity to bring people together and to be able to allow them to have fun together and remind them of how much fun crypto really can be, how much fun like we used to have, right?
Mm.
I, I think I think this is a big time for social, right? And friend tech is something that's fun.
Mm.
People like it. It brings people together, and I think that's something that crypto really needs right now.
Yeah, I would say that designing interfaces for delight has always been like the goal of any, well, I would say any platform for the most part that's B2C. But it's always been something that, is nice to make a platform stand out. I think right now we love to chase different narratives, and obviously everyone's very excited about the power of AI and different narratives throughout crypto. But I think people are really underestimating the power of social to and traditional platforms for that matter that are human oriented and designed for people to really facilitate onboarding, the next X amount of users to crypto. I think it's something that's really exciting. So I do think this is a golden opportunity for crypto. Right now, we're just now starting to see cross chain become a little bit more possible. We saw MetaMask snaps. I think Phantom will do something soon as well. And I would say right now is definitely the golden opportunity for crypto. I mean, social and crypto. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like the stars are kind of aligning on the technical side. Up until
Yeah.
recently, it just didn't really make sense technically to do much on chain with social. But we see Dialect making a pretty capable chat app. We see Friendtech doing really, seems to have withstood the early user drop off and is now coming back again. And as you said, that PWA like way of launching, you can just circumvent, like, or maybe not circumvent, but you can go around the need to worry about like being in the app store, etc. You can be much more nimble, and the experience is still really solid. I mean, I've used Friendtech. It's you can have the link on your main view in your phone. It's very intuitive, so it does feel like a good time, although it is bear market. But still, yeah. What's the saying they said? Like it's the friends you make away along the way that count in the end. So,
Exactly.
and I guess before we close up, what's the thesis behind launching on Solana?
Well, I think that from a purely technical standpoint, right? I I think Solana is the chain to build this on because things happen quickly, nearly instantly, and things are really very cheap.
Mm.
And when you're building a social app, when you're trying to build a consumer facing platform, especially for people who aren't really as experienced and as seasoned in crypto as we are, as a lot of people are, they don't
Yeah.
want to deal with the friction of waiting for transactions to confirm. They don't want to deal with the friction of waiting for gas or for paying gas fees, which, right, in the bull market are just get to be exorbitant. They're prohibitive to the average consumer looking at this and saying this is something I want to use. Because even for people who are in crypto and for people who know why gas fees exist, it's hard to justify paying the especially the mainnet gas fees to execute what on Solana are very simple transactions that cost less than a fraction of a penny.
Yeah. Got you. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Couple quick ones before we close up. Do you guys have a concept for how to like onboard new users who don't have any crypto? Like, will you have some kind of way that they can maybe make a credit card purchase of some crypto or something?
Yeah, that is something that we're trying to do. If you're familiar with Meso, I think you guys did a podcast with Meso,
Yeah,
right?
a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. That's an avenue that we're definitely exploring for allowing onboarding, because that just all falls under the umbrella of creating a frictionless or minimal friction experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Ben was like really. We spoke about a lot of the new developments in terms of reducing friction for UX, and I mean, this is the topic for this season for sure for me, because it's really exciting stuff. Like talking to Ben, he wants to enable this exactly the kind of apps that you guys are building. So it's really nice to see almost 2 episodes after that there's this that people are really building with these sorts of tools to get close to the user. One last question. Is there, in terms of users, where am I going here? Yeah. How do you guys plan to sort of take fees, or is it too early for that?
You said like take fees.
Yeah, to like earn fees on the service.
On a user earning fees basis, or a we earn fees basis?
You like the protocol or the application?
Okay, yeah. We think that there's a bunch of different, like what I would refer to internally as like specialized transaction types that you can transact through, and we have been thinking about taking small, almost sub 1% fees out of transactions, similar to like just about every protocol that facilitates transactions of any sort. There will be some types of those transactions where they do take a fee. And usually that fee is small enough such that it's not noticeable and it doesn't affect the UX at all. And that's the angle that we're looking at generating revenue from.
Got it. Okay. I mean, I keep on coming up with more questions because I find this topic fascinating. One more here. Do you guys see also a path towards like non-crypto users? Because I can see that you're targeting maybe light crypto users and crypto users. But is there a future where Kivo actually, is providing value even in like maybe a non-crypto environment, or like a low crypto environment?
Yeah, absolutely. We were speaking about this the other day, and we were thinking there will always be speculators in every market. As like price oracles become more sophisticated, we may even be interested in tracking derivatives for traditional securities, stocks. That's something that we're thinking about, we're considering, but that's not in the near term. We'd like our platform to be relevant regardless of the current volatility or price action. So that's something we're trying to design for as well. It's like, how can we build something that's not just, based around bearish or bullish markets?
Got you. Like sustainable long term.
Yeah. Because, if you look at it from the position of, sure, maybe in 3 years from now, after the next bull, crypto is a large enough asset class such to where there's not really the same type of volatility that we see. Not the same type of volatility that we used to see. But regardless of that, there will still be speculators, and we're prepared to adapt to whatever the demands of those speculators are.
Yeah, got you. Okay, I think we would be remiss not to mention the NFT. There's some kind of NFT deal in the lead up to going live, right? Do you guys want to explain how that works?
Yeah. So we shared the Kin NFT teaser right? And it's on our website as well. And so the way that that's going to work is everyone who signed up for the waitlist from when we release the landing page up until when we start the beta is entered into like a raffle for these NFTs, and then we'll randomly airdrop to wallets that we determine to be like not botted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then those kin NFTs will serve as the passes into the gated beta.
Got you.
So that we're able to have a small focus group of users to quickly get feedback from and quickly iterate on that feedback to really refine the product before we launch a public beta. Right?
Got you.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, as soon as I saw the first trailer, my interest was piqued immediately, and I'm really happy that we had this chat. And I can see that, like, you guys have a very product focused sort of brain, which is really exciting to see, like, where the product goes. I will be, a day one tester, so I'm looking forward to providing some feedback. I would encourage the listeners to check it out, and thanks so much, guys, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was a ton of fun.
Right on. Okay.